Hello, friends. Welcome to Prof and Dev Play Games, episode 94. I'm the Dev, Anthony. Over there is the Prof, Larry, who actually won't be here tonight, except for a very special discussion about Dead Cells and the SNES Classic, which was announced this week. The Prof and his wife have just had a new addition to their family, and will be out for a few weeks. So I'll be discussing some news today that has interested me, talking about what I've been playing. I've been on vacation this past week, since our last episode, which actually ties into the game that I've been playing a lot since I got back a few days ago. But beyond that, normal news we'll have a bit on bestsellers of this year. Amazon put up this great feature where you can just see the best-selling games of 2017, just so far, updated daily. Some very surprising entries on that list, and especially where they're placed. And then we will continue into some other not-so-great news with some Mass Effect Andromeda news, which everyone was expecting, and a few other news stories that have intrigued me over the past week. I've been out, though, so I've missed a lot of really big stuff, but it does seem like this might have been a quieter week in games. With all that said, let's get into our discussion, which will be start with a discussion of the SNES Classic. The Prof, Larry, really wanted to be here to talk about this because we were both super excited about it. So I have a clip I've recorded with us a little earlier today talking about that. And then we also end it with a discussion of our June Game Club game, Dead Cells, and some thoughts on that, and a pick for what our July Game Club game will be. Hope everyone sticks around, and let's cut to discussion on the SNES Classic. The Prof has shown up for a few minutes of discussion on probably the biggest news of the week, the SNES Classic.
And if that had come out during E3, I would have beaten you with the predictions. They robbed me of my victory, man.
With this, now I am almost certain Nintendo is planning out their press releases and news releases
They want to maintain the news cycles?
Yep. I mean, why wouldn't... If you could announce... They knew that this thing existed at E3, easily. They knew what was going to be on it at E3. They chose not to announce it 2 weeks after E3. 3 weeks after.
Right.
Just as the news was starting to wane about Nintendo. Nope, here you go. Have another thing. So this is calculated. I expect we'll see something from them every few weeks. If 2 to 3 weeks, they'll drop something.
It's really smart if that's true.
It has to be at this point. This is planned. They're a big enough company. This is planned.
Do you think that these consoles, the mini consoles, are taking over for the virtual console? Or will they also have that eventually?
I think they'd have the virtual console too. I mean, it's just money on the table. Because not everyone's going to buy one of these little not these mini consoles. And there's more people that have, let's say, Switches in their house than they'll have these.
Right.
So, honestly, offering both is fine. These just work as a nice kind of nostalgia gift. Cute kind of thing. Like, do you need it? No, but it's there, and it looks like a Super Nintendo, just small. And
it's the one that I wanted. This is my favorite console of all time.
It's
it's
up there.
Well, and this is something that I think people will need, because this is, other than ROMs, this is the only way you're ever going to play Star Fox 2.
Yeah, now that was the surprise. I mean, let's just up the ante from the NES Classic. NES Classic sells out, everyone wants it, just because it has really good games on it that people just love, have a lot of nostalgia for. This one ups it by, well, let's put a game that has never officially come out, that we canceled and canned after it was done, but did not release it.
Do you know why they did that?
No.
Do you know the story of that?
There hasn't been a lot of info on it. Like, there's a lot of speculation that it was coming out towards it was the end of the SNES, which was kind of overlapping with PlayStation a little bit. And compare Star Fox to even Gen 1 PlayStation games, like Wipeout, anything like that. Like, doesn't even compare on a 3D standpoint. So there's part of me that just feels... I've heard speculation that they just stopped. They're just like, we're not going to even present that level of like comparison.
Mm-hmm. I see.
But still, I couldn't even believe this game was basically done. Like,
right. Well, and they've been sitting on it for so long, and they're like, "What? This is what 20 years later?
22
years later, and then okay, now we're gonna release this game like that. That makes this console. I think it gives it something that people would want to have, even though they have all the other games or don't want to play the other games. Is something that you cannot get anywhere else legally, at least.
It's true.
And you heard how it unlocks, right?
No,
it's not available. If you don't play Star Fox, you have to beat the first level of Star Fox 1, and once you beat it, then you unlock Star Fox 2.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. But this has, I guess let's go through the list. There are 21 games on this. Star Fox 2, obviously, and then go ahead.
So okay,
what else we got?
So we have what you expect. Let's go through the Super Mario World, of course. Mario Kart, of course. Link to the Past, Super Metroid, F-Zero. Those are like the top build ones. And then let's just keep on going through. Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Super Punch-Out, Castlevania 4, Donkey Kong Country, Mega Man X, Kirby Superstar, Final Fantasy 3, which is Final Fantasy 6.
Can we pause there? Explain that to me.
It's just how they titled it in Japan. It was the 6th Final Fantasy in Japan. It was the 3rd Final Fantasy to come out in the US.
Okay, because a lot of people talk about how Final Fantasy 6 is their favorite, but it's not this one.
No, it is this one.
Or is
this is
this
it?
One?
This is the one that everyone talks about because they played it on the Super Nintendo.
What characters are in this game? Do you know?
I can't even remember off the top of my head. It's been
okay.
It is not one that I keep going back to, but it's definitely one that people do really like. And then the only reason it's called 3 in the US is because we did not get, for a long time, didn't get 4 and 5.
Mm-hmm.
Did we get 2? I think we definitely got 1 and 1 are the same. I can't remember.
Is 2 like 4 or something?
I didn't know if 2 is 3 in the US or if 2 is 2, and then we didn't get 3, 4, and 5 until much later.
Okay.
Like, it just got all screwed up. 7 was the first one that they just said, screw it. We're just keeping the names the same all the time. So, yep, we got Kirby's Dream Course. We mentioned Star Fox. Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island. Super Mario RPG. Yay. Super Mario RPG. I can't believe it. Contra 3.
So awesome.
Secret of Mana. Earthbound.
Oh, I love Secret of Mana. Crazy.
And Super Ghouls and Ghosts. I mean, it's less games than there was on the NES Classic, but these are all amazing games.
These are like top tier games, absolutely.
I want to play all of them, and I will hopefully get one of these consoles so I can play it.
If you find yourself buying the SNES Classic, can you buy an extra one, and I will pay you for it? Because I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get on when they're available.
Yeah.
Okay.
I may try to see if I can get one through the Nintendo store.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And I'll see if I can maybe I can get 2. We'll see.
If not, if you're doing it that way, I understand completely. I was thinking if you're going to go online or whatever.
I might, if I can go online and if I can get it through one of those places. I'm probably going to try if I'm around when they go up. Has there been an idea of when pre-orders will actually go up for this?
No, just there's a pre-order at one store in the UK and one store in France.
Yeah.
So those 2 sold out immediately.
That's not shocking.
No. I mean, I will buy this from a scalper. I don't care. I want this very badly.
Yeah.
So I was going to say like top 3 games on here, but that's just so hard to choose. They're just all so good. I've spent hours playing half of these games. And the other half I've actually never played. So like Contra 3, Ghouls and Ghosts, Super Mario RPG, Final Fantasy 3, Dream Course, Kirby Superstar, and F-Zero I've never played.
I've played a lot of these. I haven't played the Kirby's. Haven't played Contra 3. I think I might have played everything else.
Nice.
Wow, yeah.
And then you heard that the cord is longer. It's not like the
one.
How long is this? This is like 2 feet. It's like 5 feet or something.
That's better.
Yeah. little better. And I think that, the NES Classic is cute, and I like some of the games. Not all of the games are great, but this one, like, they are legit all amazing.
Yeah. I'm very curious about Star Fox 2. Like, I mean, it's just definitely one that I'm like, I remember vaguely hearing about it, but I've never looked into it a ton, so I don't even know what gameplay-wise, how it's different than the first Star Fox.
Well, we're, 2017, after that Star Fox Zero mess, we're getting a new Star Fox game, basically.
It's true.
In the vein of the original Star Fox. It's just crazy. But the question I have for you is, what's missing? What games do you think should be on here that are not?
Oh. What games did I...
I'll start while you're thinking. I'll give you one.
Go for it.
TMNT 4, Turtles in Time.
I would agree with that.
I wish that were on here. That's one of my favorite SNES games.
Yeah, actually, there's a miss out of any of the brawlers on here.
Mm-hmm, like that Final Fight even.
Yeah, Final Fights. One of the Final Fight or Final Fight 2. What else was there? Wasn't there Super Double Dragon?
Oh, yeah, right.
Stuff like that. I mean, they're missing out on a lot of that stuff. I mean, they did get Street Fighter as a fighter.
Right. And I think Chrono Trigger is surprising it's not on here.
That is true. It's not... Square's already putting two things, Final Fantasy 3 and Super Mario RPG, and Secret of Mana.
Right. Which I love Secret of Mana, so I'm happy to see that one. But I wonder if that means that they're going to... Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know why Chrono Trigger wouldn't be on here.
I wonder if that means that they're doing something with Chrono Trigger that we don't know about.
Maybe? I mean, I'm trying to look here of certain stuff. Like, is it released on other systems? Like, I have Chrono Trigger for the DS.
Right.
And I'm trying to look at some of this stuff if some of this hasn't been released on, like, DS. Like, I know Super Mario RPG hasn't been touched in forever.
Right.
Earthbound's on virtual... A lot of these are on Virtual Console, but they're not... They haven't been actually released as, like, carts again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, physical goods. Maybe that's it? So, like, people can already just go buy a physical good of Chrono Trigger?
Right.
I don't know. Yeah.
Nothing else stands out to you then it's missing?
Nothing that's really huge. I'm just trying to go back through the games that I played a bunch, and they're all on here.
Goof Troop.
No.
Still want Goof Troop. I want to see Capcom do the Disney Afternoon Collection, but for the Super Nintendo.
There you go. Eventually, maybe.
Yeah, I think we'll get there eventually. But there are so many good games on this. It's ridiculous, and it comes with 2 controllers, unlike the NES Classic. So you can play. A lot of these are 2-player games. So at least some of them are 2-player games.
Mario Kart. Super Mario Kart.
Yep. I spent hours and hours and hours of that game,
yep.
And it'll be my first time when I get this. I'm going to play Link to the Past on it. That'll be my first time actually playing through that game. Even though I played the first hour like 6 times. Or whatever. And Mario World, man, that's like one of the best games ever.
It's true. These are all up there as some of the best games made. Like I can't believe they kept this hidden.
I can't either. Yeah, I mean, it seemed like a no-brainer, but at the same time, nothing about it leaked.
Nothing leaked. They were having trouble with getting parts for NES Classic, so I expected they would just hold off on this. So they must have alleviated component shortages. So they feel like they can produce Switches and this in reasonable quantities. So there we go.
So beautiful. Looks so beautiful. Mm.
Yeah, just don't discontinue it after 3 months, please.
Well, they said that their plan was, they said it's a limited run. It's going to be significantly higher quantity than the NES Classic, and it will go through the end of this year. So they're being very clear. It's going to be sold from September 29th until the end of this year.
Okay.
So if you see it, buy it, guys.
Yeah, definitely. This is not one to sit around on and wonder if you want it or not. If you're going to get it, just get it. And
I wonder if that means eventually they're going to do a N64 console. Like, are they going to keep doing this? Like, are we going to see a GameCube console eventually?
I don't know.
I wonder how far they go.
I wonder when the costs, the parts get too costly to keep doing it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I could see them doing an N64. N64 would be the last one I could see them doing.
Right.
Games are still smallish. Then when you start getting into GameCubes, games get bigger. And I think cost would just go up too much on this little thing. Right. I mean, it's already costs $80 compared to the, $60 for NES Classic retail?
It was 60, yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it costs $20 more.
Right. You get the extra controller. Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm excited.
So am I.
I'm okay losing out on my predictions, because this was one of mine for E3.
Yeah. I'm surprised they held it in.
Yeah.
Good
cool.
going.
Well, I'm hoping once the pre-orders open up, I'm hoping that we're able to get one, because it's going to be a hot ticket item, I think.
It is.
And then really quickly before I go, did you want to? This is the Game Club episode. Did you want to talk quickly about Dead Cells?
Yeah. Let me put a break here.
Okay.
All right. So, our Game Club game. I guess this is the 1st of July now? 2nd of July.
2nd of July. Yeah.
So Dead Cells. I was able to put in a few hours into it, not a ton.
Yeah, me too. I put about 3 hours into it, I think.
Yeah. I beat one boss, got my ass handed to me by another boss a couple times. Felt like I was making progress. It seems like a very polished early access game. Like, you could take off early access and just release this game, and I would have thought it was a done game.
I wonder if it's because they think it's not feature complete, like they have more stuff they're adding to it, and that's the only reason, because it looks polished to me too.
Yeah, I think that it's all content. More zones, more weapons and items, but balance. But yeah, it's much farther along than most early access games, which is good on them. Like, it's a good way to do early access, because you usually get people feel less burned if they get a game that actually feels like a final product.
Right. Well, this is on sale right now for the Steam sale, I believe. Is that when you picked it up?
I didn't. I picked it up before I left.
Okay.
On vacation. But it did. They did a slight discount, which they needed to do so that it could be even close to featured. Because if you don't do a sale during the Steam sale, if your SKU product isn't on sale, you're just going to get buried.
Unless you're PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, I guess.
That game's insane. That's insane.
It's an anomaly. Yeah.
Yeah. So overall, I mean, I like a lot of the mechanics and everything of Dead Cells. I'm not feeling super compelled to go back and play it yet.
Mm-hmm.
I want to. I think it's polished. I feel like that this is the good thing. While it does feel polished and done, it does feel like it's missing something. I don't know exactly what it is. If one final hook to keep you going. If it's more story, more like, it doesn't have a strong sense of like, this is my goal. I mean, I'm exploring, but to what end?
Right.
And you start piecing a little bit of that together after a few runs, but not enough where I can tell you like, here's the overarching, here's what the pile of goo that I'm playing that becomes a person, like, what's the point?
Right.
So it's very mechanical to me right now.
Yeah, I have the same reaction. I find it to be really engaging. I don't know if I'm really drawn to roguelikes, but there's something about this one that makes it accessible to me, and I don't know if it's because the short contained areas, like, I feel like I'm making progress when I get to the different zones, but there isn't that larger structure or something that makes me want to play this more and more, other than the fact of just a pure gameplay hook. Yeah.
So maybe that's something that's the reason why it's in EA, is that they're dealing with things like that and trying to put that final piece in. So overall, I don't think I would say people need to pick it up right now unless you really like roguelikes, but it's definitely one to keep an eye on, because I feel like when it does finish early access, it's going to be a really good game to pick up.
Right.
Like, the art is fantastic. It's some of the better pixel art I've seen in a long time. Particle effects are amazing. Has a lot of just visceral, like, the weapon attacks feel really, really good sound. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good craft to it. Like I said, just missing one piece, that really just that progression. Like, why do I keep wanting to do this?
Right. Yeah, it's this. I wonder if that's coming. I wonder if there's more in that area coming, and they're trying to just hone the hardest part, maybe, which is the mechanics. I don't know, but I enjoyed playing it. I'm glad that you chose it. I've heard a lot of buzz about it, and it was good to kind of get my hands on it.
Yeah. So the big question, though, is do you have one for this month?
A game for us to play.
Yeah.
I do.
And what would it... I mean, you're in a different situation at the moment, so I'm very curious what your feel like your gaming is going to be.
Rex Rocket.
Oh, right.
Yep. So the game for... I don't know how long the game is. Let's see how long the beat says. Are you looking that up?
I'm looking at just at the game on Steam right now.
Okay. How long to beat Rex Rocket? It is 4 hours.
Okay, that makes sense.
So that's right in our wheelhouse. So let's do Rex Rocket for July's game.
Okay, we'll see if I can do it. Oh god, I'm so bad at these type of games.
Mega Man games?
Yeah.
Really? Okay. Well, I mean, whatever. It's fun to play.
It is.
So we don't have to beat the game.
I will give my best shot. No, I'm really bad at like Mega Man platformer type things.
Huh, interesting. Yeah, pretty good. For $1, I think this is going to be a pretty good bang for your buck. Yeah, it was totally this one. It wasn't a PS Plus game. And I'm picking up the Steam Link in this sale, so I'm going to try to be able to play on my TV downstairs.
Nice.
We'll see. It'll be wired down there, but not wired up here, so I'm not sure how that's going to work.
As long as your computer has a good signal, probably okay.
Yeah. Well, it's on 5G, and it gets... I mean, it downloads from Steam really, really quickly. So
yeah, I bet you'll be okay.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Yeah, I look forward to that. That should be fun.
Yeah, well, thanks for picking Dead Cells, and we'll try this Rex Rocket and see how that works.
Yeah, and good luck to you and finding some time to game that isn't on your phone.
Not much. Right. Yeah, I only played that for like 5 minutes. So, just hang out with my baby and just looking at her, and that's kind of what I want to do.
Yeah. And then just kind of sleeping, and you're like, yep, okay, I'm going to lay here.
Sleep when we can. Sleep when we can.
Yes.
For the Steam Link, you can use an Xbox One controller, right?
I believe so. I believe it can work. Any USB controllers can work. You don't need a Steam controller.
Oh, okay. But I want a wireless controller in the living room, so...
Yeah, I'm trying to think of how you would hook it up wireless. As long as maybe it does Bluetooth? I don't know.
Well, I know that the Steam controller works with it, and then...
Yeah. I assume you'll be okay.
Yeah, I think so. I think it works with the Xbox One controller too. Not the PS4 controller though.
Oh wow, they're so cheap right now.
It's $15. That's why I'm like, if it doesn't work, it's $15. So.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Shipping is $8. Boo. Boo. Yeah, whatever. Okay. Yeah, my friend Brad's like, I know you don't like playing on the computer that much. You like to play on the couch on the TV. Buy the Steam Link. It's
true. I mean, it's a great way to kind of bridge that gap.
Exactly. So, and having wired at the TV, I can plug the Steam Link into the Ethernet and then get the signal from here. So, should be okay.
Yeah, definitely. It seems like it will be a good option for you.
Yeah. All right, I better get down to my daughter and my wife.
Yeah. And with the prof heading back to take care of family and baby, let's dig into some news. The first big thing I've been wanting to talk about is this feature that Amazon now has, which shows the best-selling items for the year of 2017. You can select different categories. Of course, we're going to select video games. So, a lot of people would expect some basic things on there. You would think you'd see Breath of the Wild, of course. Maybe a couple other Nintendo things. Some Sony stuff, like where does Nier and Neo and Horizon fit on that. Maybe some Microsoft stuff showing up there, or at least multi-SKU stuff showing up as Microsoft. So, let's dig in with this list. Alright, so I will cut out any of the stuff that is like gift cards. Says the number 1 and 2 spots are PSN credit, $20 and $10 respectively, $50 at number 5. So we're going to cut those out and just talk about some of the best-selling games on Amazon for 2017 so far, updated daily. So the shocker to me was that number 3, higher than Breath of the Wild, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Now, I get that people like Mario Kart. I just wouldn't have expected the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Switch editions to sell more than the Breath of the Wild Switch edition. Breath of the Wild is Switch is at number 4. So, already Nintendo this year, through Amazon, has the top 2 selling game SKUs. The next game SKU at number 6 is Horizon Zero Dawn, which is a game I've been playing quite a bit of again, digging into, and it is, I think, well-deserved here, and pretty much guarantees that a sequel will be coming. If this has been selling that well as the best-selling PlayStation game, again, through Amazon this year, that's a huge accomplishment for Guerrilla Games, and I think it sets up Sony for me wanting to build a franchise out of this. And I'm very excited to see this game move forward. It's gorgeous, it has an interesting world, and I do want to see more in it, and maybe in a few years we will. I don't want them to rush it. I would much rather Guerrilla be able to take a few years, craft a strong experience, learn from like some of the stuff from Breath of the Wild that's done with open world, kind of adapt and get closer to that exploration of Breath of the Wild. So we'll see, but that's a really huge thing for Sony there. Number 7, right after Horizon, is the actual Switch console itself. Currently on Amazon US, it is going for $417 from a third party. Yeah, there's no reason to do that. You're going to start seeing, pretty sure you're going to start seeing Switches back in stock over the summer into the fall. Don't get scammed. Wait if you can. It'll be good. 8, 9, 10, 11, all different gift cards, PS1 subscription, PS Plus subscriptions, game credit. Number 12 on the list is the PlayStation 4 Slim. Notice what the Slim is still the best selling of this year. I think it's not shocking that people are going for the cheaper SKU, especially after console's been out for a bit. It's hitting more mainstream people. I mean, it's $260 on Amazon right now. So that's an amazing price especially for the library of games that you get. Then you get your controllers, a DualShock 4 at 13, then the Xbox One wireless controller at 14. Then you get Breath of the Wild on the Wii U at 15, which is still a shock. That must mean that a good portion of Wii U owners own Breath of the Wild. I'm still going down. A shocking one at number 20 here is Kingdom Hearts HD for PS4. You may be noticing a trend that we're still going down. Resident Evil 7 at 25. Blizzard gift cards at 27. Still waiting on that first Xbox SKU. Not there yet. 38, Mass Effect Andromeda. 37, Fire Emblem Echoes. 36, Persona 5 Steelbook Edition. 39, Nier. Yep, now shifted into the 40s. Still no Xbox. First Xbox One game on the list. The controllers have been there, gift cards have been there, but the first game is Mass Effect Andromeda at 52. What we can pull from that is, and I don't want to rag on Xbox One, because I don't want to rag on Microsoft on this, but it's pretty clear that they are not selling software units. If the first game that is selling on Amazon from it is number 52 best selling in video games for this year, that's not a good sign. That just means that you just don't have the consoles out there to sell content to, unless everyone with an Xbox One is purchasing digitally, which I doubt. I bet would be roughly the same as what a PlayStation owner would be buying digitally. So this is a pretty comparable thing, and this just goes to show that Microsoft really needs to turn this around. They need to get people buying games for their system. I mean, if you want people to make games for your system, you need consumers buying them. So that really stood out to me overall. Other just kind of shocking things here. Amiibo show up eventually at like 56, 47. Link amiibo, of course. Pokemon Sun and Moon show up in the top 50. Yeah, I mean, this list, it's cool that they're putting a list like this together for the public to see. I mean, in some ways this challenges MPD a bit, because we know that a bunch of online sales go through Amazon. So this is worthwhile. I mean, the biggest things here is Nintendo, Mario Kart 8, and Breath of the Wild, especially Mario Kart 8, not being out the full year is already is the best-selling game SKU so far this year on Amazon. And then the best-selling PS4 game SKU on Amazon is Horizon. One thing missing here is Neo is not on this list, so I don't know how well it did overall. I wish it does well, but this doesn't make it seem like it's sold a ton through Amazon. It's number 70, just ahead of the Uncharted the Uncharted collection. So we will see. I'm going to keep kind of tabs on this as the year goes on. I think this will be a great way for us to decide what's selling, what's not. And some other news. We just in the thing talked about Dead Cells and in our discussion of the game club for June, but they just dropped, while I was on vacation on Thursday, a big update with vague patch notes, which is typical of this kind of roguelike type of game. Just let people play and explore and find new things. But it's got me pretty excited to check it out again. It sounds like they've added a new type of zone, rebalanced some of the current zones, added some new monsters, some new weapons. Economy system has been changed. So, yeah, I think it's worth checking out again. If this is kind of the stuff that the content and the level of updates they're doing in EA, maybe picking it up in EA wouldn't be a bad idea. Just changing a few things and adding a few things will make this game give you a couple more hours of playtime easily. One of the gifts is this person hitting balls with looks like a shovel into other enemies, so that's a thing. So that was something we missed when we were discussing it earlier in the episode, but I wanted to mention that now. Next up, and some not shocking news, it has come out through multiple sources that Mass Effect Andromeda will not be getting any DLC, which differs from the first 3 games, where they all received at least one DLC, if not more. This just goes to show that this Andromeda did not do well enough for EA. I mean, they've already reshuffled the team that was working on to other things, to other projects to help out. So, and they've shelved any possibility for a Andromeda sequel in the near future. So, I feel bad for the team working on that. Reading kind of there's a big postmortem on it, on the creation of this through a lot of interviews, and Kotaku did it. It sounds like it was a troubled project for a long time, and it took a long time for the team to get solidified around with a central goal, everyone aligned to it. And when making a game, if you don't have the team all focused from the same goal and really shooting for the same mark, you're going to end up with a kind of a meandering project that honestly is doomed to be less than it could be. If everyone knows what they're trying to obtain and really trying to push for that polish, the level of what the design is, what are the pillars of the game, things like that. So it sounds like that team got moved, shuffled around, and EA is just basically shutting the door on Mass Effect for the time being. The main Mass Effect team that worked on 1 through 3, a large portion of them are working on Anthem right now. So I doubt they're interested in coming back to Mass Effect. If Anthem is successful, then I'm sure they'll be working on that series for a decade or more. It looks like a very large game. So this is sad to see. It's kind of a sad way for Mass Effect to go out for the time being. I hope for another game in the future, but given, I guess, more time and really with someone that just has a strong vision for what they want to do with it. Not just because we want to make another game in the series, but just someone who's like, I have a strong story idea, I have a strong concept of design, I have strong themes I want to explore. All of that just leading a whole team that knows what they want out of it and is trying for the same thing. That's much easier said than done. And I have much respect for all the people that did work on it, and I know how hard it is to bring projects like that to fruition, and I'm sure it kills many of them that it wasn't done in the quality that they would like it. I don't feel it reflects on the team at all. Making games is a hard thing. Making AAA games is very hard. So many things can go wrong. So many things cannot align. And it costs a lot of money, and it's really hard to change course once things are set in. And sometimes things get set in years before the game comes out or is going to be done. So I wish everyone luck on that team and hope that they can go into make great things, and that eventually EA will pick up the Mass Effect banner again and make something else great in that universe. With the news all said and done, now we can get on to what we've been playing. And well, I've been on vacation for the week, and the prof has been dealing with becoming a new dad and figuring out how to game during that. But since I've been home, I've been playing a lot of Horizon Zero Dawn again. And this is because where I went vacationing, southeastern Utah, Moab, specifically in Arches National Park and Canyonlands, I was there and I realized that, so this is spoiler territory for Horizon, that a large portion of where I was looking and the scenery and stuff I was looking at was in Horizon itself, and it made me really excited to come home and play it and get back into the game and kind of look at some of the environments. So Horizon, where you start more up in the Rocky Mountains, Denver-ish area, so more snowy, forested, but when you go west in the game, you have to go to Meridian, which I now know is Monument Valley National Park, and that's where Meridian, the big city in the sun, is on one of the giant plateaus there. You cross through what would be Moab and Arches and the Colorado River. Of course, none of it's labeled that way, but now wandering around that environment and seeing it, yeah, you totally can tell. And there's just something about playing games where you've been before. This happened to me whenever I played Assassin's Creed 2. It came out a few months after I'd done a two and a half week trip with my wife around Italy, where we went to Rome and Venice and Florence, and all the places that actually were in Assassin's Creed 2. And there was just something neat about wandering around those and seeing places you visited. Of course, it's not perfectly realistic or anything, but there was an added something added to the experience by knowing the real world location. So, really dug back into that. I am home alone for this week because my family got to stay and continue camping and vacationing and getting to see other places, national parks down in that area. But I'm back home alone, which means, while I have to work, I also get a lot of time to just play games. And so yesterday I sat down in the morning, woke up, kind of had some coffee, took a shower, relaxed, sat down with Horizon, played it pretty much the entire day, did stop for some food, made dinner, continued, and then beat the game last night. And I have to say, overall, really good game. Solid story. There was definitely one point at the end that I felt was... I don't know if you could tell that there was budget, that they want to get Aloy from one place to another, and I feel like there's so many story ways that could have been done, but the way they went about it was very much just she's blacked out and now she's here, which felt kind of cheap. If you play it, you'll see what it is. It kind of had me like hitting my couch cushion a little bit with kind of like how cheap this little trick felt on storytelling. So it feels to me like it was just a cost thing. They're finishing the game up. It is overall a pretty spectacular end sequence. It's very clear whenever you're going into it. So if you want to do other things beforehand, do them. You go into it, and it's got a couple parts to it. It has some neat variety. You meet up with all the people that you've met along the way. They show up, they help. So yeah, I had a great time with it, and now I'm spending a lot of time going back through. To this morning, I was like, I want to play some more, and I'm just trophy hunting. I was close to a bunch of trophies. I did all the vantage points now. I found all the flowers, the mechanical flowers, and I had like 2 bandit camps that I hadn't done, so I did those. I got a trophy for those. You get a trophy for being level 50 and having all the skill tree unlocked. I was very close to that, so I finished that. I'm now progressing through all the cauldrons, which I hadn't done yet. I only had done the first one, so I've done a second one. I don't remember how many total there are, but did all the corrupt. I had one more corrupted zone to do, so did that. There's one machine I haven't scanned. I gotta find that. Like, I was so close to so many trophies by the end of this game that I felt like I should just go back and clean up. I don't know if I'll platinum it, but there's part of me that wants to, but there's a couple trophies, specifically one trophy where you have to do these lodge trials, and they're all timed, and you have to essentially get the best rank you can, best rank possible on all of them. I think there's 15. I've done 3 at the best rank possible, but some of these will be really challenging. So I don't know if I want to abuse myself to get through that. Although I did get the like super armor by the end of the game with the power cells, and so I have basically double life now. One with half of it that regenerates, which feels totally freaking overpowered, because I am just wrecking everything now, because I don't really care if I get hit. And if I do get hit, I don't have to go through my resources, because the shield will take it. I just avoid getting hit for a few seconds and it regens. So it might be cheaty. You'd only get it at the very end of the game, and if you've collected all the power cells, which I do recommend. It's worth it. Beyond that's what I've been playing now. I picked up the Rise of the Necromancer pack for D3 on PS4. I think I'll try to play some of that tonight. I really like to get into patch 2.6 and play around with a Necromancer on there. Of course, they added more trophies when they added this thing, so if I want to get back to my 100%, I'm going to need to play a Necromancer and do all of the trophy requirements for it. So I'll have to play through the game again as a Necromancer and get a Necromancer to level 70, so we'll see. I'm sure that will happen over time. But beyond that, this week is going to be full of me working and getting Space Tyrant ready to go. If anybody wants to check that out in a few weeks, that will launch. Short. Think of a 4X game that has been compressed. Instead of taking anywhere 5 to 8 hours to play a 4X game, it takes you 45 minutes to play. Half an hour to 45 minutes to play a round of a 4X game. So a lot faster, but very meaningful decisions. We've truly tried to compress that game into its core, and then adding some metagame, kind of roguelike-ish elements to the metagame around it, so that you can feel like you're getting progress for playing all these shorter games. I'm really happy with it, how it's been turning out, so you'll hear me talking about it more as we approach the release in a couple weeks. We'll be in early access. Won't have all the content there, but all the mechanics and the core of the game will all be there. So we'll be feature complete, just not content complete. So you'll hear more about that, and I'm sure that's going to take up a bunch of my time instead of playing games, making games. So that's where I'm at right now. Hopefully everyone's stuck with me through my rambling of about 45 minutes. I'm happy to have a little bit of time talking to the prof, knowing he's still alive, well and healthy, and that he has very much a big congratulations to him and his wife on the new addition to their family, and I hope they're all doing very well. All right, everyone, this has been episode 94 of Prof and Dev Play Games. I'm the Dev, Anthony, at SummerSpeak on Twitter, and the Prof can be reached, even while offline at the moment, with his family, at Prof Plays Games on Twitter. So, good night, everyone. Great talking to you.